Thank you very much. So I'm going to get a little bit off schedule here. I hope that's okay. It's just the way we roll. You might have felt a little bit of energy pop in the room a couple of minutes ago because the president of the PGA of America, Don Ray, just stepped in and he was just going to come up on the stage and say hello.
Wow, I feel like I'm at home. I am home, Jay. You're exactly right. Well, I appreciate being here, and I just got a little bit of time because, Renee, you'd appreciate the fact that I'm running to the Diversity Roundtable. And I'm going to do a little opening speech there, just like I did last year, because we're getting better, but we're still not there, right? But, Renee, I would not miss this opportunity to be here for you. I just want you to know, the person Renee is, when she joined our board of directors as an at-large board of director, the first time ever that we had an at-large, we were looking for somebody that would bring in a different opinion into the room, a little bit of the history, the things that we need to overcome as an association, and just help us get a little bit better every single day. And Renee, you certainly did that. And you haven't just done that for the PGA of America. You've done it for the entire industry of golf, and I don't want to steal anybody's thunder today, but I'd be doing a disservice not to just tell you thank you. Round of applause. So I will make it short, but I don't talk as long as Jay, Karen, but it's close. But I will say, I've been to your hall at St. Andrews, and every time I go there, I take a picture and I send it to you. But it shows you the impact globally that you've had on this game, and for the NGCOA to recognize you, I think it's really cool because you're a golf course owner. And this is the highest award that we can give anybody, let alone a golf course owner. And so you're amongst friends today. So I appreciate the ability, Jay, and the board of directors, officers of the NGCOA, everybody in this room, certainly from all the support that you've given me, the text messages in the last 90 days of all the things that I've had to endure as the president of the PGA of America. But I always had a friend, who owns a golf course, because if you sign the front of a check, you just know what it's like to sign the front of a check. And you never, it just changes you a little bit. And right now I get to sign the front of the checks for the PGA of America, so we're trying to leave that a little bit better than we found it, and we will. With also the help of, what do you set the standard for? And I would say all the board members coming after you right now, I think you know this, Renee, but Don New Year's our at-large board of director. The next one's going to be Marva Bernard, who was president of the LPGA for 2 terms, and now she's going to serve on our board as of November. But they all looked and say, why do I want this job? Because Renee did it, and I want to do what Renee did. Because if you see it, you can be it. And so I appreciate what everybody does in this room. The more golf course owners, the better, because nobody loves golf more than a golf course owner. Because else, why would you go through it? But you do it because you love it. And you love it probably more than money, because we like deposits. But it's more important to see smiles on faces when we walk around our facilities knowing that we're making the world a little bit better place. So I appreciate everything the NGCOA does, certainly, from somebody who is a member. But on behalf really of the PGA of America, I just thank you for all you do. The PGA professionals that you hire, the ones that it's not an expense, it's actually a cost of goods sold. If you invest in a PGA professional, I believe they bring tenfold to your business, and so hire one. But at the end of the day, just take care of your golf course, because if we all do that, then there'll be a lot of happy golfers, and we just added 1 more million to the bunch, and every group is expanding. So I wish you well this year. My door's open even when it's closed, so please reach out to me if you ever have a question. And I really appreciate this time, Jay, and thank you very much.
Mr. President, thank you for brightly and boldly serving our game and all of us as PGA professionals that are in this room. Thank you so much. Don Ray, ladies and gentlemen. It's my pleasure now to bring to the stage the CEO of the NGCOA, Jay Karen. Do you have walk-up music?
Apparently I did. It's in my contract. Thank you, Charlie. Thank you, Lieutenant Governor. I really appreciate you being here today. And thank you for demonstrating that government not only sees golf as a legitimate sector and business, but one that's a contributor, right? So tell our friends in Washington the same thing, all right? We do that every year, National Golf Day, so you're going to come with us to National Golf Day and tell that message, right? Folks, can we give it up for Mr. Charlie Reimer for being our guide and MC through the Golf Business Conference? Thank you, Charlie. I'm grateful for our friendship and for your place in the NGCOA family. So speaking of family, I just want to take a moment to thank the people in our organization who make this great week happen, and to remind the room they also make the entire year happen at NGCOA. It's the staff at NGCOA. And what I love about this team, and this is going to seem like a backhanded compliment, is that we kind of believe that perfect is the enemy of good. You've heard that phrase, right? We're not seeking perfection in the work that we do, what we bring to the table, or even how we collaborate. We are not perfect, but we are good. And by good, I mean goodness. We strive to be good to our mission, good to the work, good to you, and good to each other. We fall short of perfection, and we sometimes fall short of good. But it's the goodness in our staff team that makes NGCOA work. It's why we stick around so long. We don't want to be striving for perfection all the time, but who doesn't want to be around goodness all the time? And I believe our good people are what have caused NGCOA to be meaningful and impactful in this industry. So if you all could thank our staff team, give them a round of applause for what they've done this week. Really. Also speaking of family, one last thank you to our members, sponsors, and the faculty who made the Golf Business Conference possible. Year in and year out, we treat this event kind of like homecoming week. When we do that, then people want to come back. So thank you for your contributions to this week. It's a must-attend event because of all of you. And we get to cap off our event by recognizing two of my very favorite people in life and golf. Renee Powell. She is one of these rare people who has accomplished amazing things in the face of adversity for so long, but who also carries with her a grace and kindness that is unmatched among thousands of people I've met over the 30 years in golf. She's one who you love as a human being immediately, and when you love the people around you like Renee loves others, it's amazing to see what walls come down. So you deserve the flowers you are receiving today, Renee. Thank you. And Miss Barbara Searle, what can I say? These big awards are almost always given to larger-than-life kind of figures and associations, well known by members from coast to coast, often in the limelight, presidents of the board, newsmakers. But sometimes when you simply stop and look around, you see the people who over a long time, were always there, always part of the team, always saying, aye, aye, Captain, always saying, hey, Captain, I need you to do this, please. And by the way, Captain, I need you to do it now. Who, on top of being the reliable, constant contributor, who make you smile, make you laugh, and make your work life simply a joy, which means something in an organization like NGCOA. So when that happens, you need to recognize these people. And today, Barbara, is your day, and we thank you and we love you. So thank you, everyone. Thank you for a great week. Enjoy the rest of the day. Thank you.
Thanks, Jay. It's been a real honor to be here. Now, we've got some hardware to give out today, and we look forward to hearing from the great Renee Powell. And as you know, today we'll recognize two outstanding people in our industry and two of the highest honors given by the NGCOA. First up is the Don Rossi Award, an award given for a significant and long-lasting contribution to the NGCOA and its members. And without a doubt, this year's winner is always willing to help support both the association and each and every one of its members.
The legacy of Barbara Searle is one of consistency, professionalism, and steadfast support. She has served the NGCOA and its members for over 30 years and has truly become an anchor for the organization by nurturing the spirit of community that defines it. Over those 3 decades, Searle has executed and overseen countless projects directly providing member value, including new member acquisition, onboarding, event recruitment, member renewals, rebates, and much more. Having trained numerous membership staff over the years and interfaced with more members than anyone else on the NGCOA team, Searle's hard work has indubitably helped create the environment that allows others to shine. She has been the point of contact that gathers the top golf management companies and top resort operators and executives to attend NGCOA's multi-course and resort operators retreat each year. In recognition for her work, in 2025, the retreat co-chairs created an annual golf outing trophy named the Searle Cup in her honor. Searle's colleagues describe her as a beloved membership icon who exemplifies what it means to serve with commitment day after day and year after year, with grace, humor, persistence, and charm. When asked about the most impactful aspect of her years working for the NGCOA, Searle emphasized the amazing friends she's made and the appreciation she holds for the warm family atmosphere that the team has given her. For her significant and long-lasting contribution to the NGCOA and its members, we are honored to present Barbara Searle with the 2026 Don Rossi Award.
Barbara, congratulations. I can't think of anyone better than you to receive this year's Don Rossi Award. Thank you for the 30 years of service that you have delivered to our members on behalf of our association. It's such an honor and a joy to work with you day in and day out. So on behalf of myself and your entire team at NGCOA, thank you and congratulations.
I am so happy to be congratulating Barbara on this award. Barbara, you've been the heartbeat and the backbone of this association for such a long time. It's just amazing to watch you stay steadfast on the goals, the mission, the values of this association. I'm so happy to be able to honor you in this way. Congratulations.
Barbara, my career began at NGCOA in 1997 with you showing me the ropes. Here we are 29 years later with you winning our most prestigious award, the Don Rossi Award. You are perhaps the most unsung contributor to NGCOA's success. Well, Barbara, consider yourself sung. Congratulations. We love and appreciate you.
One of the greatest gifts life can give you is a colleague that is also a friend. Barbara and I worked together for 25 years, my whole career at Michigan Golf Course Association. My mentor, my teacher, my partner in crime. Congratulations, Barbara.
Ladies and gentlemen, Barbara Searle.
I got it. During the last 25 years, I have watched this award be given to so many deserving recipients, which makes it truly amazing that this year it's coming to me. Just last year, the recipient was David Pillsbury of Invited, and I'm truly honored to follow my friend Pills. When I started at NGCOA as a new part-time employee, my first assignment was to sit at the front desk and answer the phone. When course owners would call about our small association, and before too long, our membership had grown to 200. When Jay Karen started at NGCOA, he was also a part-time employee, and I was his boss. Now he is CEO and he is my boss. And our membership has grown to over 4,000 courses. And it has been an honor to play a part in that growth. And it has been nothing short of an incredible journey. But the best part of that journey has by far been the people. I have been so fortunate to know many of you, not only as members, but as true friends. It has also been a great pleasure working with our board and our affiliate executive directors. And had it not been for a blizzard, Kate Moore, the former executive director of Michigan, would have been here to help me celebrate. But you know, sometimes plans go awry. And my colleagues at NGCOA have gone above and beyond in their kindness and thoughtfulness, more so than they will ever realize how they have enriched my life. They have been not just colleagues, but almost as family, which is a gift I will treasure forever. So thank you to Michelle, Rachel, Renee, Danielle, Sheree, Thomas, Will, Harry, Taylor, JL, Mike, Jay Anderson, Ronnie, Beth, Christina, Corey, and of course, Jay Karen. And that's what makes this organization so special, the people. Thank you very much.
Congratulations, Barbara, and thanks for all that you've done and continue to do for the NGCOA and its members. All right, folks, let's close out the GBC 26 with an absolute icon in our sport. Roll the tape, please.
Frequently recognized as a legendary golf ambassador, illustrious professional golfer, and educator, Renee Powell is also a champion for veterans, a social change patriot, and an international speaker. Over her trailblazing 5 decades in the game of golf, she has become a member of 12 Halls of Fame and has earned countless accolades, including the PGA of America First Lady of Golf Award, the ASGCA Donald Ross Award, the USGA Ike Granger Award, the LPGA Pioneer Award, and the inaugural Charlie Sifford Award. Powell was raised on Clearview Golf Club, the historic East Canton, Ohio course built by her father, Bill, and she continues his legacy as the LPGA PGA head golf professional there today, alongside her brother, Superintendent Larry Powell. In 1967, she became the second African-American woman to compete on the LPGA Tour and went on to play in more than 250 events worldwide. In 1979, while a member of the Professional Golfers Association of Great Britain and Ireland, Powell was named the first woman head professional of Silvermere Golf Club. In 2008, she became the first female golfer to receive an honorary doctorate from the University of St. Andrews in Scotland. In 2011, Powell launched Clearview Hope, Helping Our Patriots Everywhere, the only cost-free year-round therapeutic and recreational golf program in the country specifically for women veterans. In addition, she has served as the at-large director of the PGA of America Board of Directors and is an international goodwill ambassador, traveling to Africa on more than 25 trips to host golf clinics. For consistently breaking barriers in the sport, as well as her long-term and significant contributions to the game of golf, the NGCOA proudly presents Renee Powell with the 2026 Award of Merit.
Hi Renee, Mark Darbin here, Chief Executive of the R&A. I wanted to congratulate you on this Award of Merit for your lifelong contributions to the game of golf. It couldn't be going to a more deserving individual. Your impact on our sport has been remarkable and consistent over many years. We couldn't be more proud to have you as a member of the R&A, and we're all excited to see what further barriers you will break in our sport over many years to come. Congratulations.
Renee, my dear friend, thank you. Thank you for making the world a better place and for impacting the lives of so many people, including mine. Keep climbing, keep striving, keep making a difference. Congratulations.
Renee Powell, congratulations on your Merit Award from the NGCOA. Thank you to you and Larry for all you all have done for golf in the past and well into the future. We love you.
Hi, I'm Billie Jean King, and I want to congratulate the legendary Renee Powell on receiving the National Golf Course Owners Association Award of Merit, recognizing her significant contributions to golf and continuing her father, Bill Powell's legacy at the Clearview Golf Club in East Canton, Ohio. Renee, your accomplishments being the second African-American woman to ever play in the LPGA and the first woman to ever play in a British men's tournament are truly inspiring. Thank you for fighting for all people, but particularly women of color. Congratulations, Renee. You are a true trailblazer.
Hi, Renee. It's Nancy Lopez. You know, when I think of Renee Powell, I think of this wonderful lady who did so much for the LPGA Tour and had probably many struggles during her time on the LPGA Tour. But she always took it with such class and style. And I know you've won many awards, and you are so deserving of this award, too. I want to congratulate you on getting the Award of Merit. You deserve it. You are a super fantastic person. Thank you.
Renee, I wish I could be there with you tonight. I know you've been celebrated so many times in your life. You've been honored and you've received awards. But tonight is different. As a golf course owner, I think you understand what an owner has to do. And tonight you're being celebrated by your fellow owners. So congratulations.
Renee, Condi Rice here. I just want to congratulate you on the winning of this very, very well-deserved award. What you have done to keep the legacy of not just your family alive, but the legacy of African Americans in golf is truly remarkable. And you're a pretty good golfer too. And so congratulations. I look forward to seeing you and I look forward to your continued contributions to golf.
Hi everybody, Susie Whaley here. Just wanted to say a huge congratulations to my dear friend Renee Powell. You have been such an inspiration to me and so many others in the golf industry. You have just created this opportunity for so many to walk through a door that you cracked open for the rest of us. So to Renee, today and all days, I think of you and congratulate you and continue to aspire to be just the smallest bit like you.
Hey Renee, Mike Wan here from the USGA. And on behalf of all of us who play this game, and I mean all of us, thank you for just being you. I'm so excited the National Golf Course Owners Association is giving you their Award of Merit. I can think of nobody that deserves that more. For a lifetime of contributions, a lifetime of friendship, and a lifetime of making this game more accessible. Proud to call you my friend. I'm proud to be in the same business as you. And most importantly, we're all proud to follow the footsteps you've laid out in front of us. Congratulations.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the stage NGCOA CEO Jay Karen and Kathy Harbin presenting the NGCOA's 2026 Award of Merit to a pioneer in women's professional golf, Renee Powell.
Wow. I'm here? Yep. Okay.
You want to water
Wow.
everything? One over
I
there
don't
if you need
know. I think I'll try to do it without the water right now.
Okay.
And I don't even have water coming down here yet. Thank you.
Okay, that video did not make you tear up a little bit?
Yeah, it made me swallow a few times to hold it back.
Well, I'm happy to be up here with my friend Renee. We've gone through a lot of things together, and she's so deserving of this award. And it's interesting to know her as a person, as many of you do, and to really sit and listen to. I learned something even today, 12 Hall of Fames.
15, actually.
15. 15, let's correct that. That's like Kathy Whitworth. Someone said, I think she had like 90 second place finishes. She's like 95. So let's, if we're going to say the stats, let's get them right. So 15 Hall of Fames, and so deserving on every single one of them. And it's the way I would describe Renee, knowing her on a personal level and a professional level, is that she has done these amazing things in the game of golf. And then if you talk to her, she's just so kind, so thoughtful, so humble. And it's almost like there's this person over here that she sees that has made all these accomplishments, but she's just that person inside who wakes up every day and goes to her golf course and tries to make the game of golf better at her facility. So thank you for doing that, Renee. And you have had an amazing career, obviously. But let's go back a little bit to Clearview and starting the golf course with your father. Came back from being in the military, couldn't find a place to play. He's like, well, I can fix that. I'll just build my own. And he did it by hand, all on his own. Talk a little bit about what that meant to you to grow up in that environment and what you learned from his determination and perseverance.
Well, I guess the biggest thing I learned was never to give up. And yeah, my dad came back from World War II, began playing golf when he was 9, but then, fast forward to the war and everything, he went overseas. He was able to play golf in Scotland and England on those off days and came back home as a soldier and found out he still wasn't welcome at area golf courses. And you're right, he said his thing was to create an opportunity, and that's the one word that's always stood out in my mind, because he said to create an opportunity for all people, regardless of their gender, regardless of the color of their skin, their race, or whatever. But because women were not very welcome on golf courses back then, and youngsters were not very welcome, and certainly people that looked like my dad and me were not welcome. So I learned to be a little stronger from my dad, and just to continue to carry on.
And how did he handle setbacks? Because I'm sure there were some setbacks through the process. And what did you learn from that?
My dad was always positive. I mean, I think that if you allow negative things to come into your life, you're always climbing uphill. So I think for my dad, I learned to try to always be positive, no matter what sort of things. And everybody has obstacles in their lives, and there's mountains and there's valleys, but you just have to really keep looking forward and not to allow the negative things to come in to disrupt your life.
Yeah, very good. And you're getting ready to celebrate your 80th anniversary.
Well, no, wait a minute, Kathy. The 80th anniversary of the golf course.
Yes, not you personally. No, not you personally. Clearview.
Right.
Yes, is celebrating its 80th year anniversary. Yes, talk a little bit about what that means to you, the longevity of being able to sustain it through all kinds of economies.
Right. And when you think of any kind of business, if people have been in a business for 5 years and continuing on, I mean, sometimes that's a long time. But when you're looking at the golf industry, and golf has never been a minority-oriented business. Right. So looking at the fact that, my dad raised us all actually to be workaholics. And so my family, I had an older brother who passed away actually the year I went on tour. But my younger brother, who's a superintendent and worked long hours. So we both fell into line with what my dad did. My dad, designed and built the course, and he was a superintendent, and he was a course owner, and he was a golf pro. So we both followed in along that line. So it's been interesting over the years, and I have learned a lot just by watching what my parents did.
And is there anything special going on for the golf course's 80th celebration?
Thank you, Kathy.
80th anniversary.
We have a lot of things that are going on throughout the year. So people ask me, when are you celebrating? I'm like, throughout the entire year. We just had this 75th anniversary of the LPGA.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what was 75 years? That's big.
Yeah.
Then this is like 5 years more. So 80 years is a long time. And so, if you go to our website, which is clearviewgolfclub.com, under events, you will see a lot of different things that we're doing throughout the entire year.
That's interesting to think that it's 5 years older than the LPGA.
Yes,
yeah.
yes.
Wow. Well, speaking of the LPGA, in you became the second ever
Thanks, Kathy.
African-American woman to compete on the LPGA. What do you remember most about stepping into that moment, not just entering the LPGA, which is the dream of so many young girls, but walking into that being the second ever African American?
Well, what I remember most is that fact that when I played junior golf, my dad always went with me and drove me to tournaments. And then after I got out of the junior ranks, it was my mom that drove me to tournaments and you know, and was there. And they both would always say, "Oh, no, you sit back and relax. You know, we'll drive. You need to rest." All of a sudden, I turned pro, and I was driving by myself. My first tournament by myself was to Canada. And I remember crying, driving out of the lane and thinking, they've always told me they were there, they were driving. I'm driving myself. So that's the biggest thing I remember. but you know, just playing, and I had played golf with a lot of the women on the tour when I played junior golf, and growing up through the USGA and junior tournaments, and then collegiate tournaments. And you know, the LPGA always had a couple, you know, spots for a couple of amateurs, you know, in the local areas like in Ohio and Michigan I played. And so I knew a lot of the pros before I went out there. So it was, you know, and the LPGA was like a family, and like a big family. And so I think it was sort of a comfort of almost like going away from home, but going to another family. And whereas problems that I may have had from outside agencies and outside people, but I didn't have it within our association itself.
Good. When you look back on that, what do you admire most about that person that you were at that time, stepping into that position, stepping into that role, and who you were then, and who you had to be?
Yeah. Well, I think that probably just the fact that, you know, that I had strength enough to stay out there. I mean, I went through a lot of things, like when people would lose my hotel reservation, or would say that, and Sandra Post, who Canadian pro, we roomed together a lot and traveled together a lot, and we would sometimes go into restaurants and they would serve everybody else around us, but they wouldn't serve us, so we'd just get up and leave. Or, you know, the worst things that happened were just threat letters on my life. And I think the things that, you know, I think the strength that I had, that I learned from my dad and watching what my mom and dad did, you know, many years earlier, I think that gave me a lot of strength. So I guess that would be the thing that helped to carry me on, and I had a lot of faith. And, you know, I prayed a lot that I would get through everything and nothing major would happen to me. So, you know, those are the things that I think is just the strength of my own character.
And it's probably interesting for a lot of the folks in this audience to kind of go back to that time in their own minds and think about some of the barriers that you did have to overcome. But you won.
Yeah.
You did win. You won a tournament, and again, every young girl's dream that's a golfer. Talk about that moment a little bit and what that meant to you personally.
Well, so it was down in Australia, actually. And I think the big thing was that, you know, the Australians were very kind to me and all, and I didn't run into some of the barriers that I had run into in my own country. So I guess it was sort of a little bit of a sense of freedom lifted off my shoulders, you know. So it did mean a lot, and I think that if you're a professional, no matter what career you're in, if you can achieve something that is at the top of what you do, it's, you know, as a professional, it's pleasing,
yes,
right?
Yes. So. Good. That is, I'm sure, meaningful. Well, this is the part I was really excited to talk about, this part of your career, because a lot of people don't know that you were on the USO tour. You visited Vietnam, carried on a very powerful message, and that was a very powerful experience to you. So talk a little bit about how serving the troops in that way, what kind of perspective did that give on sport, life, general?
Well, so in 1971, I know most of you don't think that I'm that old, but in 1971, Mary Lou Daniel Crocker and I were asked if we would go to Vietnam during the war in support of our troops with USO. And because of the fact that my dad had been a World War II veteran, and I felt that, and both of us did really, I felt that, you know, I don't know how many, I'm sure somebody in here has probably served during that time. But to be able to go to Vietnam during the war, to take a little bit of home to our troops meant an awful lot to me. And, being able to, I was a golfer, so I could take something and my talents to do something for them, to make them feel, and because you talk about they were young kids, they were young, and they were a long ways from home, and sometimes had to live out in the jungle for 3 weeks at a time or a month at a time, and before they went back to the fire base. So for me to be able to take a little bit of home and to take a little bit of my talent that I had to make them feel better meant a lot. So I would say that the most rewarding trip I've ever made in my entire life was being able to go into Vietnam, because it was something that I could do as part of my country. I never signed the dotted line to do anything, but I was able to go and be a part of making many of our soldiers feel better.
That's awesome, yeah. And you've done a lot more. So you became a global ambassador for the game of golf, and 25 trips, I think, to South Africa. And
well, not to South Africa.
To Africa.
To Africa.
Yes.
I did go to I flew into South Africa during apartheid.
Ah, okay. So Africa.
Going to another part of the continent, but 25 trips to the continent of Africa.
To Africa. And tell us a little bit about what those trips and USO tour, what did that teach you about the universal language of the game of golf?
Well, if you hit an OB, everybody just says OB because they understand that. Or bunker. Doesn't matter what language they speak. So I think that everybody, we all have the same goals in golf, and no matter where you are in the world. And it was the first time I ever played on browns, where putting on sand greens and greens that did not have grass. And so, I learned a lot. And I just learned a lot about, people love the game of golf no matter where we are in the entire world. And so being able to take golf to the many countries that I went to, and I knew that, I lived over in England for a good while, and I knew that any of the countries that the British had colonized, that there were golf courses. And so there weren't very many of the Francophone countries, but in the Anglophone countries there were. And so I went to a lot of the English-speaking countries, and if there was, maybe 1 or 2 golf courses, I was able to go and take our sport and the love of what I did to them. And so I think it was almost more rewarding for me than it was for them. I had a great time. And
kind of along those lines and what you just said, that resources were scarce there, right? And so, but resources were scarce, but there was still this passion for the game. Yeah. And what do you take away from that, what you saw during those years, and how do you parlay that into growing the game now for us?
Well, I think that you're right. You try to do as much as you can and try to figure out as many resources as you can to help in as many ways as you can. And, I think that everybody can do something when it comes to this game of golf. We can all do something to help grow the game if we love it. And I think everybody in this room loves the game of golf. So, it's just making everybody feel comfortable, making sure that we're welcoming people into the game. And as I say, no matter where in the world we are, there are golf courses all over the world, right? There was even one when we went to Vietnam. There was one. Now they have a lot of golf courses there. But just making people feel comfortable, getting young people involved in the game of golf. And I think for young people to make it fun,
yeah,
and for older people or adults to make it enjoyable.
And then, so you leave the tour and you start to transition into operations, and things like that. Talk a little bit about that transition from the tour going into operations.
Well, I will say one thing, Kathy, that I realized after I left the tour that it was easier playing the tour than running a golf course. You only had to shoot,
agree with that, yeah.
You only had to shoot numbers out there. You just had to know where you were going for the next tournament. But I know at first when I left the tour and to have to go out and play with people and not, a lot of people always want, you want to play golf with you, want to play golf with you.
Yeah.
And it's hard to transition from being this way, right? And being competitive to trying to have fun and enjoyable. And then after I did that for a while, then I ended up, somebody said, hey, you want to play a couple of legends? We say legends, not older people tournaments.
Yeah.
So I played a couple of those, and then I had to change again. But you know, I grew up on the golf course. And so, I mean, I grew up even doing, I learned how to mow fairways, and I loved when I would come home from the tour mowing greens, because all you heard was the sound of the mower. And, you know, you had to be an artist to make sure you made those straight lines, you know, and the phone couldn't ring because you didn't have it with you, right? And so I loved that. I love mowing greens. But then one of the other things we did, and I think that we talked about this before, is that finally last year, for the very first time, we got an automatic irrigation system, the first time in 79 years. But I want to tell you, it was like dragging hoses. I got used to dragging hoses from greens to greens. But in 24, we had such a drought, it was dragging hoses day and night, right?
Right.
And then we said, oh my gosh, 6 weeks of drought, we can't do this. So last year, and on my phone, I have so many pictures of just the water coming out of the ground. I took pictures. Oh, let me take this one. Oh, there's more sprinklers there. Let me take that picture. So cool. You know, being working and learning how to do everything on the golf course, you know, I love. And one of the other things is being with people. And every day, as you all know, every day is very different, you know, in the golf world and in the golf industry at golf courses, because you're seeing different people all the time. And I think, you know, and I love to engage with people. And I enjoy teaching too. So I love I think every aspect about the golfing industry, and being a part of, you know, growing up in the family industry.
That's an amazing message to everyone. So we saw a little bit about Clearview Hope, and now there's PGA Hope. I wonder where they got the name Hope from. Renee, your time at St. Andrews, your honorary doctorate, I mean, who has a hall named after them at St. Andrews University? It's just amazing, and it's the things that you've done, the awards that you've had, all the recognition, and still, you're so excited about the water on your golf course. We can all relate. We can all relate to that. So just kind of as we wrap up a little bit, what would you say, like, as you look back on your career, what's kind of the cherry on top, the thing that you really look at and say, that was the thing I'm really proud of. I'm really proud to either have done or been recognized for.
Do you know, I guess I'm proud of the fact that what my parents did back in 1946, when my dad began building the golf course. He came back as a veteran from World War II, where because he was black, you know, there were GI Bills and GI loans, but they only went to white soldiers, not to black soldiers. But yet and still, my dad was able to build a golf course, and I think I'm so proud of the fact that the legacy of Clearview, what it is, what they created when they did 80 years ago, and my whole thing is I feel such a strong responsibility and obligation to make sure that the legacy of Clearview continues for the next 80 years after we're all gone, and we all can look down and see it still thriving, right? In 2001, when it was placed on the National Register of Historic Places, we also created the Clearview Legacy Foundation for Education, Preservation, and Turfgrass Research. So it's a 501c3. So, you know, we do a lot of fundraising, a lot of donations, and I'm just proud of the fact that my dad was my only teacher ever that taught me to play the game. So I have a lot of both my parents and me, obviously. My mom taught me the gentle side of life, and my dad taught me how to be tough and how to be strong, right? So I'm just proud of the fact that after 80 years, Clearview is still there, and the fact that my brother and I are very proud of what our parents did, and being able to continue what that legacy is.
It's amazing. Well, on behalf of the National Golf Course Owners Association, all of our members, we are so proud to give you this award, and we're very proud to be a part of all the doors that you open. Not just the doors you open, but the ones that you keep holding open for everyone
Thank you.
else. Yeah,
thank you,
continue to
Kathy.
serve. So thank you so much.
Oh, thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, your Award of Merit winner.
Thank you.
You're amazing.